I want people to be comfortable in their own skin. I want people to not be ashamed of anything that they do or look like whatever, like you are who you are, you have the power to feel positive about yourself.
Welcome to another installment of the Perspective Podcast. My name's Devin. I'm here with my co-host Mitch Harley, and today we have Evan and Sean on from Man Day Grooming.
Yeah, you got it.
Yes. And today we're just going to be talking about the story of, the come up and what it takes to actually make that leap and go deep into building a business for yourself. And from what I've heard so far, pretty much a little small empire. So to kick things off, where were you guys at before you decided to make the decision to start a business?
Well, we're both friends from university. I was working and I'm still working in healthcare. And
I was doing the same, so similar. I was working in healthcare as well. The regular 9 to 5 days a week kind of grind. And we both just came together and started just something out of fun, something that we enjoyed doing. The story goes that we couldn't find products that worked for ourselves, for our hair, products that we like to use, as well as had good quality ingredients in there as well. So we just started. We knew that there was a kind of a niche subset of people out there kind of doing homebrew stuff and making their own stuff. So we decided to we'll try our hand in it. We both have degrees in science and that science background. We know how the stuff works, so we just decided to try our hand at making it ourselves. And it started in a condo kitchen. And over some years and development and trial and error, we're in our own manufacturing space now, and it's really starting to come into its own.
Was that the first time that you tried making and selling something? Like, Evan, didn't you sell something prior to that? Kind of.
So I was doing sports nutrition before, so selling protein powders and vitamins, fat burners. So I was doing the formulation and selling them, but I wasn't actually doing the manufacturing side of it. So when we started doing this is like, a fun passion project. So it was like, we're creating something. You get to, formulating is one thing, and, both are difficult. But when you look at the manufacturing side of it, there's a whole lot more to consider. It's like the sourcing of the ingredients and pricing of the ingredients, how long it takes to make everything. So it literally just started with us buying bricks of beeswax and random oils and melting them in like a Pyrex jar and in the kitchen. And eventually then we decided, we'll go to Sean's mom does a Christmas market and we'll try selling them. And then we just sort of grew it from there. Yeah.
So from the college background, you guys obviously completed all of that stuff. Like, it was in the line of healthcare or medical practice, or was it just kind of broad in general?
For me, when I was a kid, I was always told, go to school, get a degree, you'll find a good job. That'll kind of pay for your life. And on my side of things, my dad really pushed be a doctor. That's a good profession. You get to help people, and plus there's good salaries and whatnot involved with that. And personally, going through the schooling, it was great, and a lot of knowledge and experience was accumulated. But I didn't necessarily agree with the system of schooling itself. And after I had done my first degree, it's just like, wow, that was a lot of time. That was a lot of money. And it was a grind. And so I entered into healthcare with the thought of, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, if I wanted to continue with schooling and go for that that doctorate or whatever. And, you know, I thought I'd just ride out healthcare for a year, check it out. And the next thing I knew, it was like 6-7 years later. I lost time and, you know, just kind of stuck in that grind of that was that system.
What about you, Evan?
Yeah, so for me, my background is in kinesiology and nutrition. So, you know, I was actually really lucky in that, like, you know, I was a personal trainer from my second year of university. Business I initially launched was in, you know, sports nutrition. So combined both of those things. Didn't really have any business background whatsoever. And yeah, I mean, I've always been passionate about fitness and nutrition. And then, you know, I launched Dynamis in 2010. Been working on it since like 2008. And, you know, it was definitely at the point where the company, you know, my passion was like making things and inventing things. The business was sort of like something that was an essential side of it. So it was like a lot of learning on that side. And then just like, I needed something for that like creative outlet to like keep that passion fueled, because like I could make all these products, but then it's like when you're not manufacturing your own, the amount of money that you need to have to do it was so much. So it was like, it went from like, oh, I'm going to start making all these products to having like 4 products, you're making the same ones. And it's that creativity is not there anymore. It's about selling those products rather than like making new ones. So I was like, oh, you know, we got together and we just started making our own hair products. Like we didn't really intend to start a business out of it. And it was sort of to keep that creative drive going and try something new and challenging.
So just more motivated by the idea of creating something rather than following the structure of some predetermined system.
100%, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely like great personal time between Evan and myself. We're great friends, and it was just, you know, even after a day or a night shift at you know, healthcare, maybe 11 p.m., we'd show up, we'd hang out in the kitchen, we'd chat, we'd listen to music, we would, you know, start creating stuff, and next thing you know, it's like 4 or 5 in the morning. Like, oh, okay, guess we'll lock it in for today and go and rest up to do the rest of our day job lives kind of thing. So.
A lot of people struggle with that idea of, you know, the age-old excuse of, I don't have enough time for this. And it seems like you guys are very different in that it was like, this is the only thing I have time for, versus like, you know, full of excuses and making things up. Where did you find that? Was that something that you got when you guys were growing up, or was there a catalyst to that to, you know, change your mindset there?
I mean, for myself, it was definitely instilled early to like be working and getting a job, like, and, you know, it was something that I enjoyed doing, but it was, you know, I didn't have much time, and I was not really like a person who sat around and like played video games or anything like that. And yeah, I think I was very lucky in that I enjoyed a lot of the things, or I found enjoyment in a lot of the things that I've been doing. And it's just one of those things where, yeah, when people say they don't have time, it's like, you know, just thinking about how we got started. And we were actually talking about this the other day about like how we need to push it. And it's like we both worked full-time jobs, working like 9 hours a day. We'd still find time to like make products like 10 hours a day if needed, right? And it's like, yeah, you're still on 3-4 hours sleep. Like, how many times did, you know, you get off a night shift at midnight, we make products until 6 in the morning, I like grab an hour nap and then go to my job, and like, just because we had to. And it's like, it's fun, but it's like, you know, you could push it, and it is about pushing it and not making those excuses, right? And, you know, if you want to get to the next level, you got to find that and push it and like do some crazy shit that people, you know, normal people wouldn't do, right?
100% outwork the competition. The big thing is we enjoyed it. And, you know, after the first few times of putting in those crazy hours, it almost becomes like when you yearn for it. You know, you're working through your day job. You're like, okay, well, I'm working through this to get to that time where we can do this and be creative and make something. And that's the time where we feel like we're the most energetic. And even though we're sleep deprived and tired, we're just like, we're hungry. We're hungry to keep going and keep progressing it further.
So manufacturing is one thing. You come up with an idea, you try it out, you find some products you like, and you're working all those extra hours to make that product. You still have to find time to take it to market. You still have to find time to get people to buy the product to make it sustainable. Where did that come into play, and where did you start to kind of, because on your site, like, you're across Canada, you've got guys selling your product kind of all over, and I know you've got some stuff coming up down the pipe. So how did that kind of evolve? Because like you said, you had to scale up. That's not just filling a warehouse full of product. Like, you have to get it out the door too.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. Like I said, it started with, these small markets, these small opportunities to try and gain or see what people are saying about the product if they even wanted it. So our first opportunity was, my mother holds a Christmas, a craft sale Christmas market at her house, at her residence. And she said, hey, I know you guys are starting something. Did you maybe want to sell this at the market? Sure, why not? So we came up, we only had a hair product at that time, and like a hair styling product. We knew we needed to have something more than just that. So then we started with soap. We really kind of researched what would be scalable and what is within our wheelhouse of possibility. There's tons of things that we could have done, but they didn't necessarily make sense for the situation. And so when we got into that market, we started selling the stuff. There was great reception. And then it was just us asking people, what else do you want to see? And we took in comments and advice from those that are actually buying our product, what they want to see. And we kind of took that list, broke it down into what we're capable of, what's feasible, and what we can actually scale up without, killing ourselves. And then just continued on with these little markets and all these opportunities. So one thing that we kept saying from the beginning is just don't say no. Just keep saying yes. Say yes and make it happen. Try to complete it.
So have you guys bootstrapped everything right from the beginning, or did you have some funding behind you, kind of like backing your R&D and taking it to market?
Some credit cards.
Yeah, personal credit cards. Yeah.
You're the real warriors.
Oh yeah, still have some shareholder loans that we've loaned the company that are being repaid. But yeah, I mean, we definitely racked up credit cards, and then the company makes a little money, you pay some back. I mean, it was just like each of our credit cards were like a revolving line of credit almost. Just like, oh, we got $500 at this market. Okay, time to buy more. Put it right on the credit card. You buy more, and then. It did get to a point where, we started getting some more business, and we did get a bit of an investment. And then we also did a crowdfunding campaign through ATB. So those helped us get some equipment. So it made the business a lot more scalable, going from, with soap, we used to make, maybe 20 bars at a time. And then, with this equipment, we were able to make up to 300 bars at a time. And same thing with the pomades. We do, 5 hours, we'd make a batch of 10 or 12 jars. And it's now we can make 60. So it's slowly, and there's still a long way to go in terms of scaling and everything. But really that we didn't take any loans out. There was, some investment in that crowdfunding, but that was a mistake that made in the past is, getting too much in debt, taking out loans. And this way we've basically done it either on our cards or cash flow.
And a lot of it was just being really resourceful too. Like Evan was saying with the soap, for the time where we couldn't afford to buy a soap mold. So, I took wood out of my backyard and made soap molds so that we could then line them with paper so they would be clean. And I think that's how we started. We just tried, what can we do? What do we have the ability to do? And we just harnessed our skills more so than anything and to make the reality come true.
It's this is almost the textbook example of just sheer will overpowering obstacles as you guys want to achieve something. And that's super admirable for anybody that's, tuning in and listening. It oftentimes feels like people have a lot of, and I hate to say this, excuses, but they're more than excuses. They're deep-seated, hardwired beliefs that what they think they want to do or what they think they can do, they actually can't achieve, and they create these other examples or reasons why. It's like a confirmation bias. They're constantly looking for what obstacles are in their way for them to overcome that. And I'm so curious to understand your mindset going into something like this and how you develop that resourcefulness.
Maybe like for me at least, growing up, a lot of the lessons and resourcefulness that I was taught was from my dad, and it was, no one's gonna make you do better. Like, it's only gonna takes an internal drive to do better. And I've always been told that there's, no matter how good you think you are at one thing, there's going to be someone better. So you always have to keep pushing yourself to be better and to do better, and to rely on yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. And so a lot of that, came through in the business. Came to figuring out how we're going to scale. Like, we had no idea. We just had to research it, what's actually involved in doing it. When it came down to marketing and artwork, we didn't have the means to be paying someone to try and create the image that we wanted. We had to do it ourselves. So, I took it upon myself to pick up a pen and paper and just start it. I think that's one of the biggest things hindering people is that ability to start something. Like you said, you can find so many excuses to not start it. But once you actually start traveling down that road, you start gaining some momentum and some confidence into what you can do, and it changes the game.
So it sounds like your dad or your parents, at least, that you had some mentors in your life that kind of guided you along the way to kind of build that resilience. Do you have anybody else in your life that you've kind of leveraged their knowledge, or somebody else that's kind of like coaching you or in the background, just giving you the hoorah to keep going?
For me, family is a big thing. Family has always been very supportive. I have a large extended family, and very tight knit. And it's not necessarily just you're doing a great job, keep it up. It's having that criticism as to what you can do better and what could change, because it's easy to have cheerleaders, but in your background, but not necessarily ones that are actually wanting the best for you and giving you advice and resources to get better. And a lot of times, knowledge is power. With them saying, you can do this better, you can maybe change this, not taking that personally and actually growing and developing from that was, I think, a big thing for us too.
I think it needs to be pointed out too, like your willingness to seek out help and information, like even going and asking your followers or your crowd of your tribe, your people, like, what else do you want to see? Like, that takes guts, man. Cause a lot of people are afraid of what that response would be. Sorry to cut you off there, Evan, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, family, family, my wife, like, people are really like motivated and, keep us motivated and keep pushing us and challenge us more. And I think even, you do have, I think when you start something, like when we were, not necessarily our family, like our family was always like, oh, it's kind of cool that you guys are doing that. But like, we definitely had people when we were starting being like, oh, you guys are going to try to do that. Like, you guys are, you're going to try to compete in the cosmetic industry. And it's, it's not like
the
we're
haters.
It's not like we're going to compete against L'Oreal over here. Make something. And that's where part of it's like, I think part of that drive too is like just to do something epic, do something cool, right? It's like, you can get a 9-to-5 job, you can get a good paycheck, but it's like, are you at the end of the day, like, are you going to look back on your life and be like, oh, I really wish I did that? And that's a big driver for me as well, is like that. It's almost like that fear of like, I don't want to look back and say that I missed an opportunity or said no to something, or like live just like a normal life, like want to do something extraordinary, build something extraordinary, which is like, I think a big drive for it too. And just do cool things.
And the comment that you're just competing in the cosmetics industry, like what my rebuttal to that, from like what you guys have shown me, I've been around your products being made, seen kind of, your processing and your branding and the culture that you create with your clients and your following. Like, to me, I don't see a lot of that, and let alone in the cosmetic industry, because you don't focus on, hey, you're going to look 10 times better. And the girl at the bar, she's going to give you a wink, you know, if you wear our product. That's not the branding that you go after. And I think that is such a key for you guys. Have you found a response or, you know, feedback from your branding to be something similar, like a positive feel?
I think that's how we kind of put the brand together, was to make yourself feel the best. It's not an external thing. It's more of an internal thing. You know, we try to create products for every type of user. We don't want people to kind of hide or mask, you know, some of their attributes or something that who they are. You know, for example, people with straight hair versus curly hair or something like that. You know, we don't want people with curly hair to be, oh, I gotta hide these kind of messy curls. Like, well, no, you have curls. Like, that's just the way it is. Might as well feel good with it and feel good about yourself. So yeah, we really want to encourage people to be their most weird self. You know, one of our slogans is "Stay weird," because I think everyone has that uniqueness. It's just another way to say unique. Just be yourself. Just continue on that, because no one else is going to be you. You might as well live your best life. That's kind of a lot of where our marketing kind of goes towards, and that's something that we firmly believe.
You also, you also mentioned that the ingredients in your products have always been important. Like, I know, Evan, that's important to you. We've kind of talked about that before, but how do you maintain that? Because lots of companies it's important until they start making money in production. And then it's not as important anymore. How have you guys really stuck to your roots on that and felt that, hey, this is important and this is never going to change? Because you could have sourced it out, but you've chosen not to, right?
Well, that's part of what we built the brand on, right? Is, you know, the hemp and like challenging the negative stigma associated with hemp. And, you know, the big thing, I mean, that's like what makes our products different is not only is it made with hemp, it's made with Canadian hemp, it's supporting the local industry. And, you know, it's like, we don't, you know, we're not trying to be a, you know, $10 pomade in Shoppers Drug Mart. And like, that's not why we started it, right? It's to actually change and show people that the quality products, like, we don't want to become, you know, the reason we started the company was because we couldn't find good products in our hair that were naturally based and had natural ingredients, right? So we don't want to become like the opposite of the reason why we started, right? And it's like staying true to why we started the company and why we make the products the way we do. And I think we're both in that side of it. Like, you know, there is still money to be made, even though we're not, you know, we might not be making products for, you know, 25 cents like a lot of other cosmetic companies out there, but there is still, the business is still definitely sustainable making quality products. And I think we both have that, you know, I guess that moral compass where we're like, you know, you couldn't, even like if someone approaches us to make a product for them that isn't in line with their values, well, that's not really something that resonates with us. Like, we don't want to make just another product with unnecessary chemicals that's like not going to be the best for the environment, not going to be the best for people. So I think that's like a big thing for it too. It's like more than just about, you know, if it was just about the money, we probably wouldn't be here. Yeah, it's that passion about, like, you know, doing something different and doing something cool. That's quality, right? That people can get behind. And I think now more than ever, it's like, if you have, like, you need to have a good product in order to be successful. Not just like, you know, you need that. You can't. It's past the days. But like, you just have something.
It's really admirable that you guys have kind of laid out your business's mantra and the brand, the way it shows up in the world. I'm curious, where did that come from? And why is that so important to you guys? Like, I'm a marketing guy and I come from a world where, you know, most businesses are straight for the kill. So the idea is that we'll just throw some flyers around, take that same media concept, bring it onto social media or online in the form of like Google ad spend and that kind of stuff. And it never works. And you guys have intuitively figured out to lead first with the brand's identity and to build a group of supporters and followers, the first round adopters and things like that. And I'm just curious as to how you kind of came to that conclusion versus, the alternative.
Like I've said, I think we're guided by that moral compass of trying to do good in however we can. Like I said, I was taught like be a doctor because that'll help people. It wasn't necessarily just because it would make a lot of money. The driving factor, like what framed to me, was to do good and to help people. And maybe my path is not of that route of providing healthcare to people, but I think that we can try and make people feel the best and be the best that they are in a way that we know how to do it. Just trying to transfer that I guess psyche towards what we're doing, and that's, at least for me, I want people to be comfortable in their own skin. I want people to not be ashamed of anything that they do or look like whatever, like you are who you are, you have the power to feel positive about yourself. That's a big thing for us, is positivity. People will always we want people to feel good, and people will remember those that make them feel good.
It's so funny. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm kind of assuming you're in and around the millennial range.
Yeah.
None of us ever want to admit it, but
I'm not
it's so curious because our generation of people coming up have really put a lot of emphasis on socially responsible business. Do you feel like that impacts the decisions you make?
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially we didn't start hemp just because it was cool, like just because it was, let's get on this trend and whatever. It's like something that, we've been, passionate about in one way or another for our lives. But also it's like, hey, it's literally made right here, right? Like you grow hemp. Alberta's the top grower, like top place to grow hemp in Canada. And like, I challenge the world. It's the carbon capture ability of hemp. It's such an amazing plant that was just like stigmatized for so long. And so it's like, we took that passion, and it is socially responsible. It's like, hey, we can get, Moroccan oil, we can get argan oil from Morocco and like fly it across here, or we can use hemp, something that's grown right here that, has same or better benefits to the hair, to the skin. Tell our story, do something that we're passionate about, and like support other local industry too, right? So it was, and then how far can we push that? We've done our hemp bioplastic packaging, which is 25% hemp. We're the first company to do that, and eventually we want to get to the point where our packaging is made of hemp and it's completely compostable after it's done. Obviously, there's a lot to think about shelf life. Products you can do that, and the technology is still not there, but that's where we want to be, right? Is moving on that cutting edge and like promoting hemp not only in cosmetics but in packaging and whatever else.
Even as in terms of like the apparel that we choose to put our branding and logos on, like when it comes to merch and whatever, like our t-shirts that we got they're a hemp material. And lo and behold, once we got them in hand, they feel better, they wear better, and it's a better product versus what we could have gotten. We could have chosen an inferior product, like just straight cotton, like a Gildan t-shirt or whatever, but we wanted to stick with that, with our guns, and really kind of showcase what can be done with it.
That's really cool. So as you guys were on the come up, there was the challenge of time, finding the time, making the time to do something, to follow something intentionally. There was the challenge of funding, making sure that you guys are supporting, that product creation, research, development, and then bringing it to market. Now that you guys are up and running, because it's obviously not all sunshine and rainbows just because you get the business to a level of operating. What kind of challenges are you guys facing right now as far as, keeping things rolling?
Well, marketing and distribution has always been like our, we just started posting on, Val Schoen's wife was doing our social media, and like just probably within the last 2 months, we've actually started posting on social media more than like once a week. And we don't do, and that's the thing is like, because we have hemp-based products, like we can't advertise on Google, we can't advertise on Facebook. So we got kicked off of our Shopify payment system. So it's like trying to find ways to like, even though it's all legal, it's hemp seed oil, but there's still that association with it. So you can't advertise things with hemp. So even the main thing that sets our brand apart, we can't really advertise. So advertising for sure. And then distribution, like a lot of people, unfortunately, don't want to take a chance on a small brand. And we've thankfully found some like really great local businesses and people who really believe in us and believe in what we're doing. But I don't think we've gotten to one barbershop.
Yeah.
It just you don't want, for some reason we can't crack certain markets. So definitely those are going to be the two things. And like, okay, if we can't get into barbershops, it's we're mostly in men's fashion stores and clothing stores and like handmade goods stores. But those are probably, I think, our big challenges. We don't have a problem making products.
Making the product is not the problem.
It's getting it out there. I figured that being, in that alternative world, communicating and education has been at the forefront of all of it. Have you guys considered, kind of moving in that direction with the way you run your campaigns, like more educational, or are you still just staying focused on tribe building and that kind of thing?
No, for sure. We're trying to use education. Again, like we said, it's really a small house that does a lot of stuff. So it's hard to necessarily find time to do that. So like I said, my wife is now taking over the social media. That's alleviated a lot of stress from us. And now we can focus on actually getting that information across to people, why it's better, why we're doing this, and not just because it's cool and trendy, but these are the reasons why we're doing it, what you can see as benefits from the products. Definitely a lot of education is going to be at the forefront of our marketing going forward here, as well as really telling the story of the brand, because that is I think one of the things that, especially when we're at markets and before COVID, when we're doing these trade shows, that's where we found the most success, is when we related to people and actually told our story of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and that's where we found the most traction and in terms of sales, as well as just, oh wow, you guys are doing an awesome job. That's so cool to hear. I'd love to support you, kind of thing.
So if anybody's listening and wants to support an up and coming hemp brand, we're going to drop some emails in the description here. Make sure you guys get connected with the right people. So what are the plans for the future? Where are you guys taking things?
Definitely, I think solidifying our line. One of the things I think because we love making new products so much, is like we do it so much, and it's almost like we have a new product, or we're always changing or tweaking something. Yeah. So one of the things that we've talked about is like, okay, let's like actually keep everything the same. Like, I don't know how many times we've changed our packaging, because we just like Show does the design. We're able to print labels in house, so it's like, oh, we should change this to this color. Like, so keep everything the same for a little bit and like really solidify our line, I think is one thing. And work on like that promotion, that education too. Like we haven't really done a video. Yeah. I don't think of any
products or how we use the product.
We should probably tell people about that type of stuff. Beefing up our our website, distribution. We're at a pretty good spot in our manufacturing. Like we have a good system.
Yeah, you guys got that pretty nailed in. Like from what I've seen, it goes pretty smoothly, and even the products. Like I've used the products. And like, there is no comparison. Like you guys have a handle on that end of it. My daughters, they have short hair. They love it. They go through it. And I'm like, before I know it, I'm out, and, I'm back for more. Like it's just that it's such a unique product in the sense of it's that there's that much of a difference compared to using something, you go to Walmart and you pick up the good stuff, and then, using this all the way through, and especially not even just like the hair wash, but then everything else that comes along with it that you guys have, the shaving cream, the aftershave, your guys' icy aftershave like knocked my socks off. Like I thought my face was burning off. It was like so intense, but it was great. And it just showed that you don't need all these crazy chemicals to have effect. You can do it with naturally based products. And so I definitely support you guys. And I think that you've got something really special.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the kind words for sure.
You know, it's so funny. I'm reminded of, I make music and I work with a lot of musicians, and my close friends are all musicians. And unfortunately, I have a studio, and so they have direct open access to the studio. And we'll make a song. We'll spend a few hours, writing and constructing this piece of work. And then everybody kind of parts ways, and the week goes by. We listen to it 100,000 times, and there's a million things wrong with it. And so we're back in the studio again, working on the same idea, changing this and changing that. And I think it speaks to just the artistic nature of getting better at your craft and what you're doing, and taking that time to develop something is so important, because the end result, the thing that you get on the other side, is something that a lot of people want to become a part of. They want to participate in it, whether that's arts or, taking care of yourself and looking good every day. So for that, I commend you guys. You're doing an amazing job there. So anybody, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Anybody that's listening, if you have any questions or you want to get in touch, we're going to drop a bunch of links in the descriptions here, or you can email us directly at emailtheperspective@gmail.com. Make sure to follow, like, share with anybody that you think would find this conversation useful, especially anybody that's wondering or making up excuses, wondering how to take that first step. Go back to the very beginning of this podcast and listen to exactly what it takes. It's a matter of committing to something because you really think that there's a difference that you can make there. And these guys are a testament to that. So thanks for watching. We will see you guys in the next episode.